You're listening to Side by Side with Kathy Wilson. Episode 11, Tying Loose Ends. You could say that I had a score to settle, and we were about to deal with one particular glass table. This table was situated in the waiting room of my eye doctor's office. There was little possibility of not walking into it. When I came in, it was necessary to enter the door directly opposite the front entrance. This was where the doctor's receptionist was stationed behind her desk. She needed to know that I was present and in time for my appointment. This waiting room reminded me of a coastline obscured in fog. I could almost hear a foghorn in the distance and perhaps a ship's horn sending out its own alert. The rugs were gray. Its walls were a lighter gray. Chairs that were placed along the walls of this room were covered in pale ivory. Even the sheer curtains veiling the windows were a filmy white. You can understand how easy it was to collide with a glass coffee table lurking somewhere in the middle of a room. As coffee tables go, this one was on the immense side and had bruised my shins on numerous occasions. In fact, this menace was on my worst enemy list. It was to be a test for the Niagara cat and dog team. If I could have an appointment with my doctor and not suffer table bruises, then that would definitely be a victory for the team. No, I didn't plan this test to take place our first week home, but this is when the appointment was scheduled. So here we were. It didn't matter. Hickory and I were ready to meet the villain. Hickory brought me to the handrail of the steps leading to the doctor's office, and then up the stairs we marched. We could do this. There was the door, and as I opened it, I was aware of several people waiting to see the doctors. Somewhere in this fog lurked that satanic table. Hickory, forward, find the door. Several steps later, I stood before the door of the receptionist. I turned the knob and I was in. The receptionist greeted me and seemed completely delighted to meet Hickory. Before I realized it, we were back in the waiting room and Hickory was taking me to a chair. We had successfully avoided that table a second time. 3 cheers, our team was flying high. When it was my turn to see the doctor, we avoided the table once again. The success was going to my head. My doctor greeted me and suggested that Hickory could wait by the door. I gave her the sit and stay command, and then suffered as the doctor put drops in my eyes, shone lights in them, and generally made the eyes feel most uncomfortable. All this time, I had felt Hickory's presence in the room. Then suddenly, I realized she wasn't there anymore. Lord love a duck, how could this be? I asked my doctor if Hickory was still sitting by the door. He turned about and then walked out. He was laughing as he came back. Hickory is in the next room visiting with my dog Maggie. I wasn't pleased that she deserted me during my ordeal, but the relief soothed the anger considerably. Maggie was a lovely little dog, and Hickory was just enjoying making yet another friend. As we left the doctor's domain, I reviewed the visit, realized that all things considered, the team was definitely on a roll. I reviewed our options. We could walk uptown from our doctor's abode, or we could find a bus stop and go home. Hickory was eager for some fun, so the walk uptown would be the better choice. I was glad that this part of the city was familiar to me, and as I moved forward with Hick, it dawned on me that we would be crossing that intersection where I met the witch over a year ago. This spot would be easy to avoid, but there was no way that I wanted to do that. This team wouldn't be running away. No way. As we made a left on King Street, I decided to visit the farmer's market. This was a definite challenge for someone who was visually impaired, but with my Hick, I thought it was doable. With apples and onions in my backpack, the team added one more check mark to its report card. Now for that intersection. It was approaching us rapidly because Hick was moving right along. How will she handle this, I wondered. What a stupid question! She handled it like she would any other street crossing. She approached the curb, then stopped. What else would she do? I smiled at myself. Here is yet another molehill that I turned into a mountain. I listened for traffic coming along the street and then gave Hickory the forward command. This crossing was now behind us, and the bus terminal was our next destination. Let's go home, my girl. This has been a great morning.